Hello, this is Sam Waddell. I'm with Awesome Gardens, a YouTube channel. This is one of my first videos. Actually, I loaded one more video. I'm not sure if it loaded correctly yet, but anyway, I thought I would come out here and talk to you about my compost pile and how I'm composting, and just give you some of my ideas and maybe give you some pointers so far from what I've learned. I'm not an expert by any means. This is actually my first compost pile. I don't even know if you can see it. Can you see it? It's pretty dark out here. Anyway, these two books I showed you earlier, Square Foot Gardening by Mel Bartholomew. This is his all new book. He's going to give you some ideas about composting, and then also I would definitely recommend reading this book about if you want to get into composting, How to Grow World Record Tomatoes by Charles H. Wilbur. This man right here grew tomatoes 28 feet tall and some others 26 feet tall. Just incredible. Over 300 pounds of tomatoes on one plant. Produced a lot. Now everybody seems to give you different ideas and different pointers about how to grow compost and all, or how to compost things and all this. They say to have a certain proportion of browns to greens and all this kind of stuff. And you know what I think? I think is there's just been too much written about it from what I've looked at. And I think basically I agree with John Kohler, growingyourgreens.com. He says compost happens, and I believe that's definitely true. What I would recommend, and I just from kind of turning my pile a few times here and watching it steam a little bit and everything like that, I think the two most critical things are that, well, maybe three critical things. The two most critical things in my mind are not so much what you put on the pile. I think, one, you should put just organic material on your pile. Two, I don't really think it's so much important about greens to browns. I think the other two most important things are enough water and enough air. That's why you turn the pile, and the more you turn it, the more it'll break down, the faster it'll break down. And the moisture that you put on top of your pile helps it to break down as well. Of course, you don't want to have it too wet, you don't want to have it too dry. Charles Wilbur, who grew his tomatoes really tall, one thing he said he did with his compost, he made his compost out of kudzu. And he said his compost pile that he used with his really tall world record tomatoes was mostly from green material, and he used kudzu a lot. Kudzu is a vine that grows crazy out south. I'm originally from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and it just grows crazy out there. We go visit my wife's parents in Georgia sometimes, and they have kudzu just covering the state of Georgia. I found a few places here in Texarkana, and I've actually cut some kudzu down, and I plan on getting some more this year to compost, and I'm going to do that. But a lot of people talk about growing plants like beans or peas. I know I've seen some videos online where people grow fava beans, and then they'll compost, or they'll till that into the ground just as a cover crop to help the soil, because it's supposed to add nitrogen to the soil. Well, kudzu does the same thing. So did plants like alfalfa, beans, peas, things of that nature. Charles Wilbur, who grew the really tall tomatoes, he recommended kudzu and alfalfa to compost if you want to have a really good compost. But anyway, I'm just going to show you this a little bit. I hope you can see this. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But I'm going to turn this a little bit and see if you can see this thing steam. I was out here actually a few weeks ago turning this compost pile, or a few days ago, and there was just steam rolling out of this. Of course, it was a much colder day. We're actually in January, and guess what? You can still compost in January here in Texas. And I'm sure you could do this anywhere in the country, because it just matters about having good organic material, enough moisture and enough air, and it'll break down. And this stuff might not be wet enough. Might make it a little wetter, but this is basically all I do. Turn my compost. Turn it from one pile to the next. I don't really see it steaming too much. Might need a little more moisture. And you get a good workout too. Now usually this stuff down in the middle, kind of down in the bottom, will be warmer. It's where the more the moisture seems to go. And there's just a small example, but of what I do, turning it. I'm going to show you this. I've got a few 5-gallon buckets of water here, and I just kind of pour it lightly over my compost pile. Keep it nice and moist. Now, one thing about the water that you're going to use, you don't want to use city water. You don't want to use tap water. You don't want to use fluoridated water. I actually have a stream next to my house, and I get a few 5-gallon buckets of water from there because I know it's living water. I see fish in the water and turtles and things like that. And that's how I compost. Just turn your pile, keep it moist, it'll break down. Thanks a lot. This is Sam with Awesome Gardens. Bye bye.